What's going on, everybody? Josh Morris and Stacy Talich with the Everything Paranormal Show. And what's up? Bob Fountain already in the chat. We're starting the show right off the bat. So Bob says, "Sup, dudes?" So we are starting out now tonight. We just thought we were going to go live and we're going to talk paranormal. We're just going to talk with whatever you guys want to talk about. We really have no major game plan tonight, just to be honest with you. So stick around. Don't go anywhere because usually these can turn into some of the better shows and you might just learn something along the way. So, of course, right off the bat, just want to say, hey, folks, I really hope you're enjoying this Thursday. Hang in there. I know it's very hot in some parts of the country. I know today I was out working in the heat a lot. And I got to say, man, it was like I was standing on a customer's porch and they had like an overhang and stuff. And it was shaded. It was a shaded porch. And they had a mercury thermometer, like an old fashioned normal thermometer, not a digital. And it said 96 in the shade. So, unfortunately, I had to keep working in direct sunlight today. I was like, man, it's just killing me. Everything I had to do just kept being outside. But Stacy, how is it down in your neck of the woods? What's going on with you, brother?
It's actually been kind of comfortable. We were at 80 degrees today. Granted, it was overcast and rainy, but the oppressive heat just wasn't there. It was, a lot of humidity, but that's okay when it's not really hot too. So,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the humidity, as long as it's not, just killing you and stuff, I mean, that's not too bad. But folks, also, I want to go in and kind of give you a few quick reminders at the beginning of the show, get some of these out of the way. But folks, remember that I have an original show. It's an original series. We're 2 episodes in the first season. And it streams on Paraflix. The name of the show is called Para Explorers. You want to look for the newest one, episode 2. Of course, if you haven't seen the first one, go watch the first one. It's really awesome. So watch both. And don't give me that, well, I'm going to wait until the season's done and then binge watch them. No, don't do that for me. Watch them as we release them. Trust me, I need the views. So you can go back and binge watch later, when you're all said and done. But that episode 2, it is debuting right now. We've had some good responses already. Very happy with that. And also, another reminder, myself and Terry Lynn, my wife, those of you may know her from the chat or occasionally, rarely on the show, or maybe you've seen her in the second episode. We're going to be at CreepyCon in Knoxville, Tennessee, at the end of August. I believe it's the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And I'm super stoked. It's going to be a huge convention. Of course, with the COVID thing, they were down for a little bit, but it's going to be a big convention. So I'm super excited. Can't wait to go there. We are going to be there. And I'm hoping to talk them into letting me do a workshop. We've been discussing things about it. They're interested. They kind of want me to do it, but they're waiting to figure out what's what. Probably truth is they're probably waiting to see what their options are. They're like, well, we got something better. So, but hey, I'll take what I can get because I love to go out and do these workshops and help educate people. But either way, if you guys want to meet us there and come say hi, if you're in that area, come say hi to us and just say, hey, man, I'd love your stuff. That would be great. Because of course, anytime you're out and about, you want people to say, hey, I know you. So, but in any case, that's kind of just some basic reminders. So Stacy, is there a particular subject that you want to get into tonight a little bit? There is something I want to ask you. Never mind. I'm going to retract that question.
Okay.
So you being like sort of the educated one in the mysteries of the sort of hoodoo areas of things. So my wife and I was watching a story about a guy that lived in a particular area. I'm not sure exactly where, but somewhere in the voodoo area. And so apparently he was invited to church. Okay. A guy said, "Hey, I want to take you to church." He said he went to church. Next thing you know, there's like the lights went out. There was beating of drums and all this stuff. And apparently they had him on his knees and they were doing like these voodoo curses. Like it had him in a circle or whatever. And since then, he was. Oh, I think that was the whole thing. Is like he wanted success and wealth. Well, then when he was like at home, as soon as he ended up actually getting a job or whatever and started making like really good money. Well, then he started getting a phone call from that dude that invited him to church saying, "Hey, you need to send me like $2,000, bro." And then it was like he started having like hauntings around his home. And he was like giving up money. They wanted him to like move into the church so they could keep tabs on him, but they were like taking his money. And it to me, it almost reminded of like some kind of blackmail scam where it was like, we cursed you so that way you can give us your money. You have these hauntings to deal with. Now, when I look at the footage of the paranormal footage, I'm not convinced it's real 100%. But I wanted just to give you a chance to respond. Like, does those type of things actually happen though? Do people use that power to sort of extort people like that?
Not in an extortion kind of scheme. It's a pay to play kind of thing. If you promise, if you don't have any money, you're flat ass broke, you're literally down in the dirt. I mean, Robert Johnson, the guitar player, the Crossroads playing Sell the Soul to the Devil kind of thing. You can be down in the dirt, and if you make a promise that you're going to give a certain amount of money, that you're going to do something either for the priest or the spirits or combination thereof, and you don't fulfill your end of the bargain, you will get collection calls. And the collection calls aren't as nice as the ones you get for not doing your car payment.
Right.
They will be scary. They will be wicked. They will be, you will give everything that you owe and then some just to get it to stop, simply because it's real. I mean, these people who do this kind of stuff often go into it not believing it, and they think, well, if it works, then great, but chances are it's all hokum, and it's I got the job myself, I didn't need the help. They make all these justifications on this thing falling through. And the thing of it is that the priest who's doing these things has a connection. He could be 1,000 miles away and know that this was fulfilled. The promise was fulfilled, and now payment is owed. And if you don't, there's books and books full of spiritual spells on getting people to pay you money that is owed to you. Whether they underwent one of these rituals or not makes no difference. These rituals will get the money to you or get the debt paid one way or another. Either, meat or money,
Right.
Which one do you want to choose? So these are very real in that regard. As a scam, it doesn't work because it's pay to play. If they didn't provide any services, they can't just scam you out of the money. The spirits don't work that way. So,
okay. It makes sense. I just kind of wanted to put.
He's not telling the whole story, is what it is.
If there was any plausibility to it, so it sounds like there could be plausibility to it because the story is being told through his perspective. So of course he's going to skew the narrative to where he's more of the victim, even though he wanted the success.
Right.
And so he's going to try to get empathy and stuff from the viewers, thinking that he's got these people that's dogging him for money and everything else. When now again, it could be more fanatic than that. We may. I think one thing we may start looking at doing, Stacy, if you all out there Bob, I know Bob would probably say yes, but for those of you that watch this either later on, like on replay, comment down below. Let me know if you want Stacy and I to react to a few types of videos like that, because we could have shows like that where we actually pull up the video and we watch those videos and we pause it and kind of react to some certain things, and we do some reaction videos like that. So if you want us to do some of those, by all means, we can do some reaction videos and we can do them live. We have that ability. So
I'd like to see that episode if you.
yeah. I just didn't have time to really put it together because it was actually, we were watching the reaction video of somebody, or somebody was reacting to it. But of course, it was somebody that doesn't know about that world. And I, of course, thought about you. So I didn't want to pull up the reaction video. I was going to actually try to track down the actual videos, and then maybe we can react to that. So we will. We can look at that. But folks, let us know out there if you want to see more of that from us as well. We'll be happy to do that. Bob in the chat said that he said something to start with. So I guess he wants to throw out some hypothetical stuff or I mean, like theoretical questions. He said, could some of what is reported as ghosts actually be interdimensional beings? And what would happen if we were able to go there? And then he says, if they appear for only a short time, could it be because they're basically holding their breath? How would we appear if we appeared in their world? So there's a lot to unpack there. Bob always gives us some material. So I just want to start by saying real quick that I've entertained this, and I'm always open for everything. Like, I'll never close the door fully on interdimensional beings. But I think for me, being out in the field and being around, I feel like the spirits I encounter, the ones that I talk to, or the ghosts that I talk to, or like that I'm around at paranormal investigations, I don't feel like that they're like holding their breath or that they're like here from another dimension. It feels like a lot of them are earthbound spirits, people that were past humans, souls that's in between or like in that afterlife, and I get a good sense of that. I don't feel like they're just from a strange other dimension. But again, I don't want to discount that, because there could be interdimensional beings. It could be in the form of maybe aliens or something. I mean, that could be more of like some of the alien explanations that we have, like when people have UFO encounters, that could be interdimensional or something. But as far as ghosts, I mean, sure, I could say that some of what is reported could maybe be interdimensional beings, but I personally feel like most of the hauntings and things like that seem to be from spirits that, end up being like a relative or, somebody that was left behind, whatever,
I think Bob's been binge watching Stranger Things.
Right. Yeah. So Stacy, what is your take on that? What do you think?
The interdimensional stuff, outside of, what, like you were saying with aliens, busting the veil between dimensions is quite difficult. And outside of remote viewing, I haven't seen anything that could, come close to it as far as like physically. It's fun to watch with the Stranger Things, where they put a crack in a wall and it, things start squeezing through the crack. That's kind of cool, but I don't know if we would ever get to a dimensional portal scenario like that, where dimensional beings get through, unless they've got a ship that does that sort of thing. Because if you've got a ship that controls gravity, you can control time and you can control dimension, and you've got it all. So
first Bob says, yeah, needless to say, I haven't taken my meds yet, but I don't know. I mean, maybe Bob off his meds is more fun. I don't know. We'll see. But no, Bob says for something a little further off the wall. He said, could a Reiki master remote heal an injured Bigfoot? I would say, me initially, that first of all, I would say that if there is any being that exists within our. Hey, Debbie, what's going on from Oregon? Or like Oregon. Am I saying it like too Yankee, like Oregon, Oregon? Sometimes, anyways. But yes, hey Debbie, it's so good to see you.
I just read an article on Oregon today. They're being hammered with the Mormon crickets. They're like locusts that are swarming and eating like 10 million acres worth of food. On the farmlands there. They don't fly, they just crawl and they eat everything as they go. They're just like this massive swarm.
Yeah, those came from Bill Gates.
Really? The Mormon crickets?
Yeah. He probably created them, probably engineered them. No, anyways, I say that, folks, and I'm not trying to be conspiratorial, but I just like literally watched a thing about Bill Gates here recently, and it was pretty scary talking about some of the things, and I don't want to get into conspiracy stuff, but yeah, she said haven't seen any. Now back to Bob's question about Reiki master healing an injured Bigfoot, like remote healing. I would say that any being that's in this physical plane, in the metaphysical world, right? If you can lock onto that target, right? I would imagine once you lock onto that target, whether it be a Bigfoot or maybe an animal like a deer or anything, if you can remotely lock on, I think you could, right?
Yeah.
Am I off on that?
No, I mean, if you could empathize with whatever injury was going on, I'm sure you could heal it. But you'd have to lock on, like you said, not only to the creature, but to whatever injury it was dealing with, and empathize with that injury in order to, heal. So,
right.
On that level, anything is possible.
Yeah, and because I would think that because I don't know how. Again, forgive me for my ignorance, but I don't know the ins and outs about Reiki remote healing. I'm assuming that this could be done with consulting with people over the phone, maybe like finding like, hey, I'm talking to Stacy, and he's of course way down there in paranormal slutland, and I'm up here, and like so my legs hurt and injured, and it's like, hey, can you heal me? And Stacy, can I guess lock onto me, and he knows my legs hurt, blah blah blah. I'm assuming that's kind of how it works. And so I would imagine, like, if there's a Bigfoot out there, again, you'd have to know that a Bigfoot exists and know what his ailment is, like Stacy said, and then you'd have to kind of line all that up. So in theory, if you can get him on the phone that sounds weird, like that, like some kind of weird northern UP thing. Get him on the phone. Get him on the phone, eh? Up in the Hooper, eh? We got all kinds of funny accents. I'm from Michigan, but not that far up. Holy shit. Anyways. But yeah, he said, you're right, guys. All right. So I'm just going off theory stuff. That was just me. Like, so I'm glad
you're not wrong. In the traditions, the African traditions, you have to have at least one face-to-face in order to, catch an imprint of some kind, in order to do a lot of things, whether it be healing, do a reading, that kind of thing. Like I can do remote readings to you about certain things, about what's going on in your life, but I can't do it until I've actually had a face-to-face with you. Yeah. I can do a general, what do the dead say about, this situation? And we've done that on the show, but until I actually have a face-to-face and, you actually touch the shells, there's no real connection involved where I could do an in-depth reading. That's the difference between the African traditions and, say, Reiki.
Right. Now, guys, if I sound too loud, let me know. I've got my mic. I'm back to the boom mic, guys. Remember, I've had the boom mic for a ton of time, but I've got my new mic on there. But if I'm too loud, let me know, because normally it's kind of my microphone sitting on my desk a little bit further away from my mouth. So I'll try not to blow you guys out tonight. But Bob says I'm a Reiki master, but it hasn't done a damn thing for my cancer. Well, Bob, I mean, maybe you're not a good Reiki master.
No, Doctor Heal Thyself is what
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Bob. Maybe I'm just saying maybe you haven't leveled up to that level. I don't know. I mean, that might take a whole nother level of Reiki. Yeah. And then Debbie says, I have seen one while hunting. So you've seen a Bigfoot. That's awesome. I always find it fascinating when people have Bigfoot stories. I think that's really cool.
Are you sure she meant that? I mean, maybe she was talking about she saw a Reiki master.
Or a Mormon cricket. Did you see a Mormon cricket years ago when you were hunting? No kidding. Bigfoot out west.
Okay, so that has been resolved. She saw Bigfoot.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that's amazing. I do. I find it fascinating because I have not seen one, but then again, there's a lot of things in this world I haven't seen, and especially something as elusive as a Bigfoot. So I can't say that it doesn't surprise me, but it's always fascinating when I hear it, when I run into people, because it seems like I run into more people than I think. Right? It seems like it'd be really rare to run into somebody that's had some kind of Bigfoot story, but I've actually run into more people than I realized. Like in the especially the last few years. I don't know if maybe it's because I live in Tennessee in the mountains, so that helps. You have an increased ratio there, but down there you've got the skunk ape, right? Is that what they call it? Swamp ape?
It's swamp ape, skunk ape.
Skunk ape's a little more Florida-ish.
Yeah.
And swamp ape was about the same thing.
They both smell the same, you know.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I don't know. I would consider going on a Bigfoot hunt one time. I think it would be cool I don't want to just go by myself. I want to go with a hunting party. I don't mean like hunting as in obviously a hunting to go shoot Bigfoot. I just mean a Bigfoot hunting party. I want to have somebody that actually knows or has experience in tracking Sasquatch type stuff. And I want to go out. I just think it'd be cool. It'd be a cool experience to go out and do that. It'd be fun.
Yeah, well, they call it some down here the Honey Island Monster, which is the swamp ape, the skunk ape, whatever. And Honey Island is basically a giant forest preserve swamp. It's got a lot of areas that you can go, that you can walk and drive, and it's a huge, huge area. As a matter of fact, there's actually a long-ranged rifle range out there. You can go, shoot on the range at targets that are, half a mile away, and you have to walk to the range because the parking lot's, also a half mile away, dragging all your equipment. It's really kind of sucks. But the area is just absolutely huge to where there's no one around that could get shot at this range if you're not actually downrange that,
right.
But walking around the swamp, there's a lot of critters too that can turn around and eat you. They have no problem just moseying across the road while you're trying to go by. And they even have signs that say, maximum speed is 20 miles an hour. So you don't run over something you thought was just a speed bump. It's
right.
a gator. Yeah, I mean, I've gone through the Honey Island area, kind of searching around, seeing if there was anything that would just, reveal itself. And there's just really no good way without hip waders to get into the area and do anything.
Yeah.
Very dense.
I mean, I just think it would be cool. I mean, now I will say, and Bob brings up the point, he says there's a huge difference in reading or hearing about paranormal events and actually experiencing it firsthand. And believe me when I say that's definitely something I've preached even on this show We've talked about it like with people with paranormal, like ghost hunting, right? Until you actually get out there and do it yourself and experience it and know what it feels like. Now, like I said, I guess you could say in a small way, I've kind of already done little mini Bigfoot hunts because I've gone out into some parts of woods and done investigations and stuff. So I could have come across Bigfoots then, you know. So, but I will say that a few of the events that I think what would make it scary for me is that one, I've always had that fear of like bears and shit, anyways. Like the big shit out there in the woods, mountain lions and bears and things like that, like the mountain cats. So I think for me, the stories that I've heard was hunters being out there, and I guess they know when they're too close, when they're like in Bigfoot's territory, because they said like they've had like trees just like shake. They heard these loud grunts and these loud. It's like smashing, big logs on other trees, like just making these huge thumps, and loud noises, and really, it's scary. Like it's really intense. It's like the Bigfoot's warning them, "Hey, you're in my territory," and it's like throwing a fit, like and so I think it's really crazy in that sense. Again, and I know Bob brings up the show here. I don't watch the shows, but I will. It says the show on TV, Expedition Bigfoot, shows a survivalist who camps out where they think Bigfoot exists. I would consider that he is insane. Getting your arms and legs pulled off by Bigfoot would suck. Yeah, I guess, people think of that as like Chewbacca.
Sure.
But bears, Debbie's like bears, mountain lions. Yeah, always scary.
Exactly. I would rather be killed by a mountain lion than a bear any day of the week, because mountain lions will kill you first and then eat you. Bears will hold you down while they eat your face. They have no problem eating you while you're still alive. So
awesome. Thanks for that visual. Well, like I said, I've been out in the woods, and I try not to fear nature, because I also try to, every time I do start getting a little nervous when I'm out there, I also try to think to myself, how many times, people, we exist out here in the mountains. We exist. We have people running around the mountains all the time, and majority of the time, everything's okay. So I try to think of the odds to try to calm me down, right? So, and guns. So, but yes, I think that would be pretty cool to at least do. And that's why I said I would like to go with like a guide, like somebody that knows what they're doing. And that's what I tell people, even like with ghost hunting advice. I tell people all, hey, if you're going to go ghost hunting, go with an experienced crew or something, tag along, people that know what they're doing. So that way you can learn before you just go running off by yourself, doing things and getting into trouble. So yeah, I think that that's pretty cool. The existence of Bigfoot. I know we've talked about this before. I'm a believer. The only thing I'm stuck on is I just don't know if I'm just kind of cross between whether it's supernatural or whether it's an actual sort of hybrid type person, because it could be that in between, if we are truly involved, or if evolution is correct, which I don't necessarily believe, this could be that in between that got stuck or something. But I don't know. Gorillas were only invented like 100 or discovered 100 years ago ish, a little over 100 years ago, and
by white man. It's been known by the Native Americans forever,
right?
Like Sasquatch. They've been, it's like the skinwalkers. They only recently, as the white man figured out that this thing exists, when the Native Americans have been dealing with it for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So,
right. And that's what I'm saying. Is it just something that we're just not wanting to accept because we don't want to believe in any more magic out there or supernatural things? Because I think at this point, it almost feels like whatever is out there almost would be supernatural at this point, with given some of the different, reports But I'm just still kind of torn because there's also many reports of where it just seems more like a gorilla type, humanoid, cryptid type thing, you know? So have you remote viewed anything like that?
Oh yeah, we did projects when I was training for remote viewing. There were projects that Ed Dame's company was doing to, basically ferret out a lot of enigmas. And he had not only his new remote viewers, but his experienced remote viewers were doing these blind sessions to try and gather data on Bigfoot. And he used different names like the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, the targeted different names to see which one was actually the one that would stick in the super unconsciousness of the universe, what he calls the Matrix, which he named before the movie came out. He doesn't use it much anymore because the movie ruined it. But targeted Bigfoot to see what was going on with it. And what he gathered is that from all of his remote viewers is this thing is more like an avatar, like the movie Avatar. It is extraterrestrial, but it is also native. It's not something that is of its own consciousness all the time. It is basically a possessed thing from extraterrestrials that go through this rite of passage where they
Right.
get to explore worlds but not actually be in danger of exploring worlds. They are remotely controlling this creature.
Hmm.
And he said that you'll notice too that all of the witnesses also seem to point to a weird red dot as point of light, almost like a laser pointer, but it's not hitting anything. It's just this point of light that follows the Bigfoot around, almost as a probe to know what the intentions of its environment is. So you can come up to it, have a gun, and if your intentions are just to sit there and look at it, it knows that you pose no threat. But the moment you think you want to shoot it, it knows and then scurries off and runs. It seems to know what your true intentions are when you come across this thing. And it's that
Right.
probe that does it, according to, again, the remote viewers that project this thing out. And, there were half a dozen remote viewers, gave their own results. And that's what the conglomerate of those results would be.
I mean, that's interesting. You know, it's interesting to think of that kind of avatar type of theory.
Yeah.
I can't, again, I'm open minded. So I'm not sure if I'm convinced on that or not. Again,
Well, this is
know.
also, we targeted this stuff out before the movie came out.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to say that
So
like, oh, the movie was the first. No, I get it.
it's one of these things where I saw that movie Avatar. I'm like, holy shit, man! How did you guys do that? Know that this is, because we literally targeted that thing out, and it was like a year or two later that the movie came out, and we're trying to describe how this possession, but it's science and it's consciousness link, but it's not really. We were trying to describe all of this stuff, and the movie Avatar just kind of like encapsulated the whole goddamn thing, and it was freaky to me because I saw the movie after I was participated in that project. It's like
Right.
the wildest synergy that I had experienced in a long time. So
Okay, Robert says, take your pick. Arms and legs pulled off by Bigfoot, anally probed by aliens, or possessed by a demon. What the hell are we doing? So I don't know if he's asked if we have to pick. Certainly, I would pick anally probed. I'm just gonna say it. I know it may sound a little gay, but that's okay. Because obviously, arms and legs being pulled off, that would just be horrific. And of course, being possessed by a demon is definitely not fun. And I don't trust anybody to save me because I don't know. There's nobody qualified to probably save me. Maybe Sean Carter could probably save me. I'm sure.
yeah. Well,
But
the aliens also have those really long fingers. If they're going to do a prostate exam, it's going to be easy peasy for them because they got those like 4-knuckled long fingers that go like this. They could do it without any equipment. They just got it right there.
Right. And especially, with this whole month of June, all we've heard about is anal probing anyway. So, anyways, so bam, got it. All right, got it in there.
That is
All right,
so transphobic.
I know that's not right. Look, I'm not picking on anybody. Don't get butt hurt. I'm sure your butt's already hurting for this month. Okay, sorry. I can't help it. It's just fun. We have fun. We're joking around with everybody. I love everybody. So
Terry Lynn's, I walked in at the wrong time.
Right. See, it's always going to be that awkward moment. Anal probe. What? She walks in and she just see her husband like, I'd rather be anal probed. I'm like, what? What the hell? So yeah, well, anyways, blame it on Bob. Bob's giving us weird choices again. So you'll have to scroll through the comments. Go back to the comments. Anyway, so yes, folks, Terry Lynn's in the chat. Hello. Hello, hello.
Hello.
As some people say. Hello, hello. All right. Where are we at? All right, so we've covered. Did we miss anything? Did we miss any other topics so far? I think that was like the biggest thing that Bob was saying. I don't know if we missed any other questions. Debbie did say you don't want to shoot it as a fact. Shoot it as a fact. I guess saying what we don't want to shoot Bigfoot. Is that what you were saying? Yeah. I personally I always try to bring the show to the lowest denominator. That's okay. We're all about low denominators here. But let's see. Now, and Stacy's getting hailed by Captain Kirk there. Are they ready to beam you up?
No, forgot to do airplane mode.
Oh.
There we go.
All right. I always recognize that sound. That sounds like embedded in my head from years and years of the Star Trek communicator.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh yeah. And felt like that's like the old school too. All right. Yeah, when I see it. Oh yeah, when I see it. Now you're saying, don't shoot it, right? When you see it. I mean, I wouldn't want to shoot Bigfoot, I mean, now if I had to, that's the thing. If Bigfoot's getting ready to kill me, like I'm making that decision, right? I'm going to shoot away. Sorry. And then I'm going to bring it in and be like, hey, look, I'm the first one to finally kill this. Although I have a feeling, I've got a bad feeling that I don't think I'm going to be effective. It seems like if somebody could shoot it, because we've had people that's talked about shooting at it and things like that. I'm pretty sure we'd have bagged one by now. Trust me. There's always those guys out there, right? Yeah. So I have a feeling that's why I'm always leaning a little bit toward the supernatural part of things with Bigfoot.
No DNA, no nothing that they can, scientifically verify. And that kind of creature would leave something, and even if it was just a little bit of blood, somebody shot it and it bled a little bit. They haven't been able to get anything. Footprints is about it. And you would think DNA would be left in the mud, but they can't seem to pull anything out.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, but who knows? Again, especially if there's footprints, like you said, would there be some kind of scat, or like with any good trackers, like when they start tracking footprints, they kind of know directions, and lots of times they can find branches that's got little pieces of fur, things like that the animal brushed up against or whatever. Even if it sheds, I'm sure that Bigfoot would have some type of, if it is hairy, the hair is not going to be, if it's anything, hell, even like my wife's hair, it's all over the house. Okay. Even though she has it, it just seems to end up everywhere. And I'm not picking on my wife. She'll tell you the same thing. I'm just saying, if Bigfoot, who's covered in hair, it's going to be in the woods. It's going to be on some branches. It's going to be some places.
Tree bark snacks.
Says that, no, they have gotten hair, etc. No, they have gotten hair, etc. No, I know you. I know you're not Bigfoot, honey. I said I'm not picking on you. I'm just talking about hair in general, how hair works, right? And you have long hair. A lot of times, Bigfoots they're very hairy. And I even said that you're not. So, anyways, I'm not going to apologize because, honey, I was not picking on you. All right. So, so Debbie says no, they have gotten hair, etc. I don't know if they have though. That's the thing because they would have DNA tested it. I'm sure. Unless supposedly, see, that's the thing. If it was like, if it was fake, if somebody was like, I got some Bigfoot hair right here, then the government shows up and they're just like, I don't know where it went. It's probably dog hair or something. Okay, I'm just saying, it's probably fake, most likely, and then it just mysteriously always disappears. Or the other flip side is the government came and took it, and there you go. Because they know more about some of those things than we do. Says they have tested it. They have had it tested. Well, I have not heard of any confirmation of any DNA, so of any type of Bigfoot. So again, outside the box, if a Bigfoot farted, would it smell worse than they already smell? No, it's probably going to smell like roses, Bob. So I would imagine it's probably opposite, right? Smelly on the outside, smells good on the inside.
I guess that would all depend on diet. If you're eating nothing but berries and leaves, it's not going to be as intense as if you're eating, vermin.
I don't know because actually, when I was on the all carnivore diet, you really don't fart. Believe it or not, there was almost like a 2-week period when I was eating nothing but animal products.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, like there was no gas. I'm like, what the hell is the strangest thing? Like I kept waiting to have gas or what, And even when I would, and I know this is a lot of information, probably too much, but when I would use the restroom, right, like it wouldn't be like it wouldn't smell like like normal. It really wasn't that much. So if Bigfoot eats nothing but protein, in that sense, like rabbit, small game, things like that, then in a sense, and I don't know why we've spent probably 5 minutes talking about a Bigfoot fart, but hey, this is theory. This is theory stuff, folks. But in theory, I would say that it probably wouldn't smell, or even his scat probably wouldn't even really smell much, unless of course he's incorporating some berries and things like that. Then I think you would have odor. So no, I'll get the name and tell you. Watch 411 The Hunted. Okay. We'll have to check it out. Like I said, I think Stacy and I will have to try to do some reactions. If you guys find some videos that you'd like us to react to, now keep in mind I don't want to get like copyright strikes or anything like that. So we can watch some of them and we can like watch them in short segments and stop. We have to pause, talk about them, things like that. There's a fair usage and things. But yeah, I mean, if there's like certain episodes or certain things that you want us to watch and react to and talk about, we can do that in some future things. So Bob says, wow, you were a Virgosiraptor. A Virgosiraptor.
Carnivore.
Right? Yes. Yes. And some of the best couple of weeks I've ever felt in my life. So I always recommend the elimination diet called carnivore, which is also, again, it's elimination diet. I recommend it highly. Love it. Never felt better in my life. But when you have a family, it's kind of hard to cook separately all the time. So because they don't always just want to eat bacon and burgers and, all the cheese and things like that. So anyway, all right. What else do we want to talk about here? I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. All I think, because I love my coffee. I've been drinking black coffee now. I went cheaper this time. I got Folgers. I'm not gonna lie. Normally drink the McDonald's premium.
That stuff's been cooking all day.
Huh?
That coffee that's been roasting all day long.
No. Like I buy it in the can. Like the McDonald's, you can buy the McDonald's premium
Oh, okay.
roast, like the ground coffee. And believe it or not, it's really good. It's really good coffee. Um, it's a little better than Dunkin' Donuts ground coffee, but Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's are about the same as far as like taste wise. But believe it or not, Folgers, man, I'm going back to some old school roots when I was a young adult and started drinking coffee. I started out with Folgers, man, and with the economy the way it is, man, coffee. I went to go buy normally the big, the big coffee can of McDonald's was like $9 normally, $9 or $10. I went into the store, it was like $15 for coffee. I'm like,
Wow.
son of a bitch, inflation. And so I was like, well, do I really want McDonald's coffee? And I started looking, I saw Folgers, and I'm like, well, Folgers is usually the next cheapest coffee. And it was like $2 cheaper, so $2 or $3 cheaper. So I was like, I guess I'm going old school. And brewed it up the other day, and hey, tastes great. So it still works.
Yeah. Well, I'm squirreling the stuff away myself. My daughter works at Starbucks, so they give her like 5 pounds of coffee every payday or every week or something like that. And it's the full bean, so we just keep storing it away.
Right.
In the event of apocalypse, guy who's got coffee, he's going to be like, leader of the town. So,
well, I mean, look, I'll drink anything after an apocalypse, I'm sure.
yeah.
But until that point, I won't drink Starbucks. And I don't know if you have actually smelled the coffee grounds from Starbucks, but there's almost like a fish smell to them. I swear to God, every time. I've opened up the coffee grounds, and I'm like, ugh, I don't like the way Starbucks coffee grounds really smell. Normally, like you open up coffee, it's like, ooh, you get that coffee ground smell, Starbucks, not so much. I don't know what they're doing to their coffee, their ground coffee, but not a fan of that. So never been that big into that. But I'm easy to please. I'm not super fancy, Some people get into some crazy coffees. I don't do like super dark and all that stuff. Just I do a good old fashioned original medium roast, folks. In fact, I just started drinking black coffee in the last, since I went down to that elimination diet. And I was doing a lot of fasting, which I'm back to fasting again. And with fasting, you can drink coffee. So even with it being a polyphenol, that's okay. But I still like you're allowed to have black coffee, unsweet black tea, unsweet green tea, and water whenever you're fasting. So, so it's good. Plus, I have to have some kind of caffeine. All right. Bob says I found a way to lose 80 pounds called cancer. I know, Bob. That's not a good diet. You need to stop that. Just stop it. Okay. Just get over the cancer already. Try to keep you positive, buddy. All right. Dave says damn straight. Navy tradition was to never wash your cup. After about a year, you would get a veneer that somehow made it taste better.
Yeah, I think I found out where your cancer came from, dude.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I've seen some pretty damn. I've seen those coffee. I've seen some of those old men, man. They have those coffee cups, man. They just have that permanent stain, or as Bob says, that veneer. And it is crazy. I've seen them. I don't know. I think they just rinse them out. I don't think but they do get to a point where I've seen them where they come out of the dishwasher like that after a while. Like you can't even put them in a dishwasher anymore, and they still just come out stained as hell. So yeah, we talked about coffee and Bigfoot and everything else. So, okay, guys, what else do you want to talk about tonight? We got it's an early show still. It's 10 till 9. Oh, Paranormal Underground Magazine, guys, will take a moment. Make sure sponsor up here. Paranormal Underground Magazine, guys, go there. I shouldn't. I know I tell you guys all the time. You're probably sick of me saying it, but for those of you that are new viewers, people that come in here and watch, and they actually make it through to this part of the show, go up there, go to Paranormal Underground Magazine, go visit their website, and just tell them that Josh sent you, and they're going to send you a year free in your email. I'm telling you guys, great magazine, and Bob Fountain, writes for them. Debbie says, I don't think anything that smells like a fish is good. Had a dozen eggs smell fishy, took them back to the store. You're right. That's why I don't even eat seafood hardly anymore. No, there was a time I loved a ton of seafood, all kinds of stuff. Like I even got into like calamari, like when I was living off the Gulf Coast. Just there's all kinds of seafood down there. My wife grew up there. Like Terry Lynn will tell you, she loved seafood. She used to fish off the docks. She'd be there cleaning fish on the docks. Guys would come over. She'd clean fish for them. She's a regular fisherman, But there was something right around that last pregnancy that we went through when she gave birth to our son Christian. During that time, it's like both of us, we just stopped like tuna. Like, just cans of tuna, things like that. We used to make like tuna fish sandwiches and stuff, or tuna, like tuna sandwiches and stuff, and tuna salad, right, and all that stuff. And all of that stuff just started getting really fishy for us. So now it's like we like fish still, but it has to be like a little more of your safer, like less aggressive fishes, if you will, like your cod and your maybe grouper, possibly like tilapia sometimes, things like that, flounder, things that are pretty easy to eat. A lot of your common fishes that you find out there that's not super fishy.
Well, it sounds to me like you've actually developed a sensitivity to mercury. A lot of the seafood stuff out there that has a deep, like salmon, a deep fishy smell to it, a lot of times will have high mercury content.
Now, I still like salmon.
Well, tilapia, for instance, when it's dead, absorbs everything. It's butter, spices, whatever. It takes all of those things in and like a sponge. But while the fish is alive, it takes in nothing. You can literally have radioactive waste. That fish be swinging radioactive waste, and it comes out of there with no contamination in it whatsoever. It is a weird fish that when it's alive, it doesn't take anything on, but after it's dead, it takes on everything.
Well, tilapia, they say, actually, I've been trying to avoid more tilapia here lately because I did learn that, it's better to eat more whitefish, like just a whitefish or certain salmon that's raised. I think it's Pacific salmon, because I think they were even saying like some of the farm raised, of course, they say try to avoid all farm raised fish if you can, because of the way that they're raised and the nutrients in them. And there's a whole scientific reason for not doing farm raised fish. So I've actually found in Kroger's, they have some wild Pacific salmon that's actually pretty healthy for you. That was pretty good.
Well,
fried some of that
is farm raised because it's native to the Nile River. So if you don't get it from the Nile directly, you're not getting it.
Right.
And they're easy to raise too. They're like rabbits. You get a couple of them in a big tank, and within a few weeks, the whole thing is just chock full of them because they just keep reproducing over and over and over again. So, I mean, I love tilapia on that front. Bob says he was on Paranormal Magazine's podcast last night, and it didn't suck too bad.
Yeah.
When did they start that podcast last night? Is that their first episode?
I think it was. Yeah, I think Bob said they did just start their new podcast. So,
okay. I'll have to check it out.
But that's the one I told people not to check out because they should be watching our show.
Well, podcast you
I'm
can
just
download
kidding.
and watch later.
I'm just kidding. We support Paranormal Underground Magazine. I'm always just joking around. Bob says there's some things that smell like fish you should never put your tongue on, crawdads and the like.
Are you kidding? I eat those all the time. Crawfish are awesome. Mud bugs.
Yeah. You can keep that. That's
They're
awesome.
like little lobsters.
I know. Well, see, that's the thing is like everybody talks about them, but they're intimidating. You know, when you see the crawfish there, you're like, most people don't even know how to eat them. Something about pinching and sucking and all this stuff.
No, I don't do the head sucking thing. I just tear off the tails and eat them like a boiled peanut. You crack the shell off of them and pop it in your mouth. The pre shot ones where you just get the meat, they sell those in the store and you can throw them in to different dishes, and like I'll throw crawfish into macaroni and cheese because it's just really awesome. It makes it actually into a gourmet meal at that point.
Well, it's like lobster mac and cheese, except
really thick Kraft cheese with lobster meat in it. That's what it tastes like.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but you're down in that area where that's like a main, whole amazing thing. Like that's like a whole, what do they call it? Like a whole dish or something. Like it's a whole nother world.
Cuisine. It's the Louisiana cuisine. The thing of it is, it's only fashionable now. The only reason people started eating those things is because New Orleans is famous for all of the famines that it went through, the blockades for wars and various other famines that took place. People died and they couldn't. There was nothing to eat except mud bugs and swamp rats, which they call nutria, but it's basically a rat the size of a cocker spaniel, and they would eat those things because that was all that was around. Anything that would basically crawl, fly, or swim, that's what you ate. But it was based off of famine. All of the Louisiana's famous foods are from the worst times in history.
I guess that would probably explain the muffaletta because it's like olives, it's like an olive sandwich.
Yeah.
And it's definitely an acquired taste because if you really like olives, and I think do they have some ham in it? I think a little bit or something.
Yeah, it's garbage meats and things of that kind. The po' boy sandwich is also a big thing, and that comes from the Great Depression.
Right.
People would bake their own breads because that was the only thing they'd have. So they'd get these French rolls and they'd go around to the different restaurants and ask for a po' boy. The chef would throw whatever scraps he had on the table onto your bread, and that was it. It wasn't even like a real sandwich. It was just the garbage left over from serving people their food.
And now you can get one on Canal Street with a beer for $60.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and we're getting ready to go into one of those times again. People are just not even waking up to it. It's, come September through December, people are going to suddenly wake up to the fact that, you know what, we're actually in a famine right now. It's Louisiana's going to be fine because they've been through them so many times. They've already got the food menus set up, but other people just not going to know what to do.
Yeah. Bob says that he has raccoons that come in every night and eat the disgusting little bugs. I just give them dessert of marshmallows and sugar cookies.
I just give them diabetes. That's,
animal diabetes. They're going to be coming in. Bob's going to have to start testing their blood sugar. He's going to have to start giving them insulin shots and stuff soon. little raccoon shots.
But how would they even know? Because they don't have saliva glands. And they, how would you know if you've got cotton mouth or not? It's diabetes. You get this cotton mouth thing going on, and raccoons would never even know.
Bob did say, he said head cheese and chitlins are also horrible.
Yes.
Again, there's just some foods that I'm sure in desperate times are definitely desperate measures. And who knows, we may get to that point. I'm pretty sure faced with starvation, I probably would eventually eat most anything.
Yeah.
But until then, as long as I have a choice, I'm going to avoid some of those things. And
bugs and tree bark.
Like there's just certain things like collard greens, right? Now, I've tried collard greens a few different times, and my wife, who's a great cook, like let me just put this in perspective. There's things that I never used to like. I've tried multiple times, but when my wife makes them, I actually like them. Okay, she's a good cook. She's able to cook certain things in a way that I like, and so it's awesome. Like, cool, you made me a fan of these things again, like her potato salad, right? For example, I'm not a big potato salad person, like the mustard and the potatoes and the eggs and whatever. Like all that to me, it's like, I don't know. I never liked a lot of the people would buy the store bought, and I've had some homemade ones. They'd put some weird shit in there, but the way my wife makes it, I like it. I actually like her potato salad. Again, that's an example. Collard greens, though, even hers, I'm just not a big fan of. There's something about just the greens themselves, the flavor that comes through. I'm just not a fan of that. So there's just certain things. Pops the downer pass.
Yeah. A lot of people haven't opened their eyes yet to what's coming. It's, yeah. Debbie, absolutely right. I watch, these news programs, and they still walk around like they don't know what's happening. They do these news reports. Like today, the Atlanta Fed came out and said that we're officially in a recession. We're GDP, we're going to write down a negative 1%, which they're going to announce in a week. But they came out and said it. We're in a recession. And the media is still out there saying, well, we might not be in a recession until like the first or second quarter of next year, which is 12 months from now. It's like, sorry, no, we're in it. Everybody knows it. But the news media live in this bubble that they're the ones that are supposed to be the most informed with their finger on the pulse. And they are the most, sheeple, blind group of people that I've ever seen. And
look, I don't like to talk politics on this show. Obviously, we're getting a lot of people showing up right now, and I don't like to talk politics. One thing have led to another on this show, and Debbie brings up the point again. I try to interact with you guys in the chat, right? This is one of those shows that when you guys have questions or you bring things up in the chat, we like to talk about them. Debbie brought up the fact that a lot of people haven't opened their eyes to what's coming up, and Stacy has, through each show, has tried to work in some warning signs here and there. Has really tried to get that message in there, and I've kind of reined him back a little, because again, this is a paranormal show. I try not to discuss too much of the politics. I think I would have to reactivate my other YouTube channel and have Stacy on that one where we could really talk some politics. We'll have to maybe do that. But what my point is that I will say this, that you guys are right. Like Stacy's right, and Debbie's right. The media, there's the Democrats and the media. I want to say it's easy to keep saying like they're clueless, but we've gotten to such a point now that I just can't imagine them that they're actually that fucking stupid. That's the problem I'm starting to have now. Like for a while there, I'm like, okay, maybe they're clueless, whatever, this and that. But after like 6 years,
they're doing it on purpose.
or 7 years or more, now it's just starting to become purposeful. So, for example, as maybe some of you may or may not be watching the January 6th hearings, I'm not, because I think it's a clown fest. I think it's a kangaroo court. I don't think it's fair to anybody. I don't care if you're a Trump fan or not. But the way that they hold those courts, they're like grand juries. They're all about prosecution. There's no real due process.
It's an inquisition is what it is.
There's no due process. Okay. So, and it's public, which means they pretty much can say about and do anything about, and it's almost slanderous or libel, if you will, because if you want to say it's in print or slanderous out there. But they had this bitch on there. I mean, they had this woman on there testifying about Trump grabbing the wheel of, like, from the Secret Service agent. I'm sure all you have heard this.
Yeah.
And like, she's under oath. The media is just running wild with this. Again, you don't have to be a Trump fan or not. I don't care. That's not the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is that this individual, trying to be nice, got up there and blatantly lied, wasn't even present. And then, of course, the two Secret Service agents that were there has already said, no, we will testify under oath that never happened. Like, Trump never did that, whatever. But before they could get to that, just in that quick amount of time, all the major the horrible media outlets were already like, this is a bombshell. Oh my God. Can you believe Trump is like them? We tried to tell you guys, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they just went off. And I'm sorry, but to me, that is fucking stupid, because, and excuse my language if I'm getting a little carried away, because it boils my blood, because any credible news organization would have checked sources. They would have done any of that stuff before running their mouths, right? They would have been like, this sounds really good. This could be a game changer. Like, I can imagine them thinking that, like, if she testified and they're like, oh my God, this could be so good. Oh my God. And they could have reported on something saying, hey, she dropped this huge accusation. Let's find out if it's real. That's what a responsible news organization should have done. Instead, everywhere you looked, they were just railing Trump in the ground and all this other stuff. Again, whether you like the guy or not, it's unfair to that individual when you have somebody that come out and blatantly lie. And of course, it turned right around and made them look stupid when it was easily debunked. That never happened. And it just exposes even more what a bunch of clowns the media and the Democrats really are, and how bad. And meanwhile, they're so focused on spending our tax dollars on this kangaroo court that we have all these problems. And this is what, and I'm bringing this all back to what Debbie was talking about, and Stacy. We have inflation. We have all these problems out there in the world. Of course, Russia, if you want to look at that problem. But to me, that's,
it's more of the same.
I know all that stuff affects things, but China is looming over us. They're buying land around us. I mean, you got Bill Gates buying up, literally 250,000 acres of farmland. All of these things that are going on under our noses, much bigger problems, much bigger things on the horizon. 97 food processing plants burned down.
100.
100 now? 100 now? I mean, fuck. If I was a food processing plant, I would be having armed security 24/7 hanging around, shoot to kill kind of shit, because clearly they're under attack. I mean, 100 food processing plants. A lot of this stuff is like, what can we do to put the Americans in a position to where they have to have this infant formula that Bill Gates just miraculously happens to be a part of. He just happens to have infant formula that's specially formulized to probably, indoctrinate your kid or something.
Diesel, we got a problem with the diesel additive that they put in the fuel so it becomes EPA compliant. There's no more of that right now because it uses urea, which is a big product from the Ukraine. They put in that additive in order to make diesel engines go. That by default, the new ones will not run without the DEF because it's an EPA thing. They have sensors in there and the computers in there. If you have no DEF with your fuel, they go into a safe mode where literally the tractor trailer will not go any faster than 10 miles an hour. So when that stuff runs out, there won't be any trucks on the road. Then you have the oil for diesel oil, like what you have in your car for changing the oil and stuff. For diesel engines, they have other additives that go into that, anti-foam, anti-rust. It's a bunch of different chemicals that go into this oil. Well, the manufacturing companies here in the U.S., there's 2 of them. Both of them have gone offline, and they're not coming back online for another 12 months. Meaning the oil that truckers use to change their oil with, and trains and all of that use diesel engines, all the oil that's out there is all that's available for the next 12 months. So when that stuff runs out, which they expect will be 4 to 8 weeks, a lot of other machines will just stop working. The supply chain is being destroyed, which is why I say between September and December, there's going to be a huge famine here in the United States because the supply lines are not going to be there. Buy some rice and beans,
Well, and I get that. Again, people don't realize. I don't think they always think like there's big conspiracies that are happening. And truth be told, there really are some big conspiracies. It's gotten to that point where we're actually seeing it for our own eyes now. Again, I'm not trying to say all conspiracies are real, but there is some pretty important things that are happening to us as a country. And it really is right now seems as if they are purposely trying to hurt our country so bad that we're having to go electric. They're trying to force us into their green plans. Mm-hmm. And the problem is too, look, I can't imagine I'm not trying to talk anything bad. I would love to have a $50,000, Tesla. The Democrats think that we can all just go out and afford to get a $50,000 Tesla. Well, the problem is too, is that in our house, we need, a couple cars. Okay. We're not just a 1-car family. We both need to have separate vehicles. Not only that, but we need to have trucks out there that can haul stuff.
I ordered my Cybertruck 3 years ago when it first was revealed, and it's still not in production yet. It's one of these things where the technology isn't there yet.
Right. And not only that, but so let's just say in my lifestyle right now, let's just say the government said, you know what, we're going to give Josh a Tesla. We're just going to give it to him as part of a new program because hell, we can spend $40 billion to Ukraine. Why can't we just give everybody in the country a Tesla? So let's just say they gave me one. Well, I mean, in all honesty, I looked at that, and with my lifestyle, I'd be running that thing ragged. I mean, I drive a couple hundred miles every night. And here's the thing, I have no time. The typical charge time at a charging station to get to 80% power is about 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. So here, at the gas station, one of the local where they have the charging ports for Teslas, right? The electric ports, mm-hmm. And not just Teslas. I mean, I just keep saying Tesla, but there's other electric vehicles, anyways. But we have a gas station called Sheets, and they have some charging ports. And lately, I will admit, there's been more Teslas there. Normally, it's you almost would never see the ports being used. Almost nobody would ever use them. Then every once in a while, you might see a Tesla and be like, hey, there's a Tesla using the charging ports. Now, I'm starting to see almost every day a couple Teslas out there charging, which is great. That's fine. I have no problems with that. But here's the thing. I see them, and they're sitting off in the grass. Just sitting down, taking a break, chilling. I'm just going, how long does it take to freaking charge that thing? Because I know I gotta go, man. I don't have time. I mean, I'm on the move. I've got to get to places, all the time, and I don't have time to be sitting around. So of course I looked it up, and it was 40 minutes is the average charge time for 80%. Mm-hmm. So obviously when you're traveling with Teslas, you're going to go there and you're going to probably spend a half hour to 40 minutes charging up. Maybe you'll spend a little more if you want to take a break. And most likely you probably have money because you have a Tesla. So you're probably not in a big hurry. Okay. I'm in a hurry because time is money and I don't have as much as other people. So time is money. So
well, they all have their own, ranges too. The early Teslas, the most you could get is 200 miles on a range. Now with the Cybertruck coming out, you're going to be able to get a minimum of 500 miles and as much as 1,000 miles if you conserve on a single charge. The battery technology that they're coming out with the new ones, the 4680, are phenomenal. They're 3 times the storage capacity of what the current ones, the first ones that came out. So the battery technology is getting better. And unless you're driving from your house to Chicago every day, you're not going to use all of that. You're going to, use it during the day, home, charge it overnight, and you're set for the next day. It really is the evolution of the tech.
well, I know one thing that they better come up with some damn lightning ports on those things because they need to. Because just like when I was saying, even the other day, I saw four Teslas charging, and I was sitting there, and this was like when I was like in between jobs, and I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of observing, and again I'm watching these people. Some people were like sitting in the grass. Some people went in the store, was like they bought themselves a drink, was sitting out on the thing, and meanwhile you had like 100 more vehicles that came and gone at the regular pumps, and I'm just thinking to myself, imagine if like overnight they only had electric cars. I mean, like all these people, like how the hell would they be charging? I know they'd have to do more charging ports, but I mean, Christ, you're not going to have that in and out people on the run. It's gonna
Really
suck.
is depending on your situation. You don't have to get an 80% charge every time. You can do a 20% charge and finish out whatever it is you got going on, and because it'll tell you exactly how many miles you got in your charge.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's just, I don't know, man. I just think it again, and I'm not trying to be narrow minded, and obviously I know that there is a environmental cost to the batteries, and there's a huge debate about all of that. And again, I'm not trying to talk about the whole what's healthier for the planet, and I want things to be healthier for the planet. I do, trust me, but I also think there should be a more natural progression, and we shouldn't be just like a band-aid. We can't just rip that shit off and go right into that because we're fucking shit up.
No, what they're trying to do here is, pet unicorn stuff. It's not, the free market will determine what will succeed. That has always been the case. Anytime the government has tried to force or set prices or anything of the sort, it has always led to disaster. This is, again, these are ideologues who've got pet unicorns that are trying to force on the rest of us. And, Tesla is the forefront of all of this. He's giving away a lot of the patents too. Elon Musk isn't keeping all the stuff. He's not like Bill Gates where he's trying to be a monopolist. He's actually giving away the tech, the motor for the Tesla. Every electric motor that exists in all these other cars, it came from Tesla. He gave it to them, free of charge without the patent. He's not being a greedy bastard, and he's still the richest man in the world. The tech will eventually catch up to the situation, and it's just not there yet. And I don't know. A lot of these people are literally stupid and nuts at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a tangled mess that we're trying to constantly unweave and get to the truth. So, folks, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up the show. I know we didn't discuss a lot of paranormal tonight. We started out that way a little bit with some Bigfoot stuff, maybe a cryptid type talk. But we talked about coffee and, some of the economy stuff, a little bit of politics, I guess, a little bit. But hopefully, maybe you guys learned something. Maybe we helped open your eyes to some things. Who knows? I know that we had a big drop in viewers here this last bit when we started talking about Teslas and stuff and vehicles. But hey, I'm sorry, guys, but we are human, and it's frustrating to us. We're feeling the effects, even in the paranormal community. Again, because we all live in this great country, at least most of us that are watching, right? We're probably in the United States. So folks, just remember to always keep pushing, always keep trying to find the truth. Like I always say at the end of my shows, seek the truth, right? Keep trying to do that, folks, because the truth is out there. It's not just the first Google result. Make sure you dig, and you will find the actual truths out there, and you'll be surprised. But we'll look at doing some reaction videos. I'll get my wife to find us some because she loves watching a bunch of stuff like that. I'll get her to
the
find
one you were talking about before.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna look at that situation as well, so you can kind of see that, and we can talk about it. But we'll try to come up with like maybe depending on the length, we'll try to come up with a few different ones to react to, and maybe do that next episode, or maybe Stacey and I may film it offline, non-live, and react to it, and then post it later on for thing. But we'll figure it out. So in any case, guys, remember we do this every Thursday, and usually we do talk about a lot more paranormal, ghosts and goblins and all that fun stuff. We just kind of went in this tonight, just kind of off the cuff, talking with you guys in chat, getting into some politics stuff. But in any case, guys, we'll do some reaction videos maybe next week. Don't forget, check out Para Explorers. You can catch it streaming on Paraflix. Use promo code ParaExplorers10 if you don't have Paraflix. In fact, like I said, I'm streaming on the banner here if you need that. Again, it premiered on January 25th, Saturday 9/8, but it's streaming there. And I believe it's in the trending section too. So it's been trending, the show. So I'm happy about that. Episode 2.
Cool.
Other than that, guys, we'll see you next Thursday. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks for showing up, guys, in the chat. Debbie, Bob, and even Terry Lynn. Thank you guys so much for the live chat. And for those of you that watch us on replay, we'll see you next week. And remember, seek the truth.
Peace.